And we are going to go ahead and get started with the slides, and then we will continue on to a live demonstration that goes through actually walking through those steps. So just to kind of overview of what we're going to cover today is getting started with Mydoma on the right foot. So what things you have to have set up before you do other things, an overview of setting up your profiles, catalogs, and user management, hands-on expert demonstration. So again, I'm going to share my computer screen to show my studio and how you would actually take these steps to do what you need. And then also roughly how long we think that it would take you to do this start to finish and where to find guidance and support as well. So if you are new to Mydoma, something to keep in mind is change can be hard, and we are here to help. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions at all. But something to also keep in mind is knowing why you decided to start with Mydoma and move to Mydoma, committing to learning the software, and if you have any processes, making sure that you fine tune any of your processes, and also get organized. So now that we've done the very basics, I'm going to go into the studio just to kind of show you how to get started and how to set up your studio for the basics first. So everybody has their own unique studio URL. And whenever you're on your dashboard, it's whatever it is minus the studio/dashboard. So mine, for example, is Mydoma Basic Lessons. I also have one that has marigold.next.mydomastudio.com. Yours will typically be whatever you set it up while you were on trial or whatever you had asked us to change it to, but it's usually your business name or a version of it. If you want to change that, you can message us in the studio chat. It needs to be the account owner that messages us, but we can change it to something else as long as it's available and not currently taken. So let me go to show you how to get to the support. Is the question mark at the top right. I will turn off my video for just a moment so people can see this on recording. The question mark at the top right. And then go to connect with support. So in here, you can send us a new message. You can search the help articles here. At the bottom in the middle, you can select to see any previous messages that you've had with us. And then also the question mark, you can, again, just search help articles that we have. If you wanted to see your help articles in another tab, there's two different ways that you can do that. So again, the question mark at the top right, and you can go to help guides. And you can select a specific section that you're wanting or just see all. And you can search at the top or again, go by different sections. The other option is if you select your studio name at the top left or logo mark, and then go to help guides here. It'll take you to the same spot. If you lose your recording for whatever reason, it will be underneath training and resources, and it should be under getting started with Mydoma Studio. So once this video has finished processing, I will upload it there, and we will also email it to you. Okay, so now that we've gone over that, if you are new to Mydoma, you may also want to import different things into your studio. So what we can do is that Mydoma is able to mass upload client profiles, vendor profiles, and products into your studio. So I probably shouldn't have closed the help guides quite yet. If you go to the help guides and search for importers, or if you message us, we're happy to help. This will take you to an article that has the directions on how to do this. And if you select the option on the right, it'll take you directly to the section that you need. So this shows you what headers it has and also which fields are required and any extra information you may need to know about that field. And if you go to the overview, or sorry, above the overview, we do have a template here that you can select and make a copy of it to create your own. You'll end up sending it to me, and then I will upload it for you. Okay, so something else you may want to do to start out is to edit your profile. So at the bottom left corner is your name, and then you can select user settings. So in here, I can select the pencil icon to update my name, email, phone number, etc. Then I can also add a profile image. So to do this, I would select image, then I can drag and drop or select browse to look through my computer. And then I can select the image that I want. If I wanted to crop it at all, I can. But if I'm happy with how it was, I can do that. So you'll just click and drag the corners, and that's how you crop any of the images moving forward. Go ahead and select done. It will show it here. If you want to rename it, you can. So I can select this just to make it easier for the media gallery if you're trying to add an image other places to search for it. So the media gallery is, for example, if you upload your logo once, you can add your logo to multiple other places without trying to hunt it down on your computer or re-upload it multiple times. You can just pull it from your logo spot and it'll do that. But it goes based off of the file name. So you may want to just name it something easy to remember. Once you're happy with this, you'll select upload. And it will show if you're successful and you can close it. That was already my image, so you aren't going to see a change, but you get the idea. You're also able to add addresses for yourself. So I can select the three dots and edit my address and put in any information that I need. So you'll just click in the field and type, or if it has a little caret icon, you can select this and it'll show a drop down for you. You can also change the appearance each time that you are logged in. So if you leave the studio, like close it down and come back, it will switch it back to light, just so you are aware. But say that you're working on something and you want it to switch to dark, you can do this here. And this only changes it for you. It does not change it for others. If others wanted to change it, they can do it themselves through editing their profile. You can also select if you want to receive email notifications or if you don't want to receive. So if it's checkmarked, that means that you will get those email notifications. If you uncheck it, you will not get the email notifications. You will still get the regular notifications in the bell icon at the top right. In the recording, it will be behind my face. Unless you are on a smaller screen, it may be the three lines and then the bell icon here. Let me zoom back out. The last thing you can do is you can update your password here. So if you need to change it for whatever reason, you can do that here. If you forgot your password, however, you will want to select your profile, log out, and then use the forgot password option. So as you can see, it says forgot password here. I would select this, enter my email, and I can use that. Close out of LastPass. Okay, and if you have team members or clients logging into the studio, that is also where they can update their profile, add profile images, things like that. They would select their profile name and go to user settings. Continuing on, we'll go to your business information. So I'll select my business name at the top left. This would have been what you set it to whenever you first signed up. And then you'll go to Studio Settings. In here, I can add my logo, I can add a background image. So if you noticed on my login page, it had an image behind the login box. That's what this image is. It is adaptable to the screen size. So please note that it does not need to keep does not need to fill this whole section. A normal image is perfectly fine. So to upload an image, you'll just select the pencil. And again, you can drag and drop or browse from your computer and upload it. And then same thing for the background image, the pencil is on the right-hand side. I'll scroll down. This is going to be what my studio name is, so whatever shows at the top left. There we go. You can also add a welcome intro, title, and text. So if I go back to my login page, you can see that I have welcome. This is your studio. If you had any other information, that's where it would show here, whether they are logged in or not. If they are logged in, it'll just show studio. If they are not logged in, it'll ask for their email and password. And if I'm going too fast at all, please let me know. But I feel like most of this beginning stuff is fairly straightforward, hopefully. Continuing down in the studio settings, if you're in a location that requires your tax number to be on all orders and invoices, this is where you can enter that. Not everywhere has that required, so if you don't need that there, then you don't necessarily have to add anything there. But certain places do require it on all financial documents. On the right-hand side, this is where you can add your business address. So this will show up on invoices, and you can choose to add this for your orders to say if you're having things shipped to your business for your clients. On the left is where you can add your logo mark. So this icon at the very top left, currently you may see the initial of your studio. So whatever is the very first letter of your studio name, mine would be an M if I didn't have anything. It would be where that shows. And this icon does show for everybody. And so if you do want something there, I recommend that you export your logo as what's called a favicon. I personally did 100 by 100 pixels. If you need help with this, message me and let me know in your studio, and I'm more than happy to help you create that, or whoever did your branding and logo, they should be able to help you out with that. You also have your default currency. Again, this should have been set up whenever you first started, but if you move or decide that you are working in multiple countries and you have one primarily, you can switch this here. And then on the bottom right, you can change your studio theme colors. So currently these are preset. Eventually we do want to be able to have the option to kind of have more options and create your own, but currently these are preset, and so you would just choose from these options. You'll notice based off of these icons, specifically like this play button and some of the text, that some of the colors will change based off of what I select. This one obviously is going to be more of a drastic difference, but a lot of other ones are more subtle. The studio themes do show across the board to your team members and your clients. So if you have a certain color that matches your branding more, I recommend going with that. Okay, so continuing down, we have the billing. So this is where you can see when your plan renews and what plan you are on. Since I'm an employee, obviously I don't pay for my studio, but that is not an option. You can select monthly or yearly, and if you ever want to upgrade, you can do this here. You can just select. If you have questions about the upgrade, you can select learn more, or you can message us, and we're more than happy to talk to you about what plan is best suited for you. As you scroll down, you can also see the add-on for the Visualizer Pro, and you can add more team members. Let's go to accounting next. So in accounting, depending on what plan you are on, not all plans have the capability of connecting with QuickBooks, but if you're on a professional plan or higher, you should. And so you can connect with QuickBooks. This would be a separate account that you pay for with QuickBooks that you can connect here, and you can send paid invoices to QuickBooks a little more easily. It is not required by any means, but just an option that you have. If you have questions about setting that up, please let us know. You do have to be logged in as the studio account owner whenever you're setting it up initially. No matter what plan you are on in accounting, though, you will want to add your tax rates here. So if you have like a resale certificate or are tax exempt on certain things, I definitely recommend creating a 0% tax for yourself. That way you can override on orders to show that you did not pay tax, but also adding any tax rates that you need for your clients. So at the top right, I can select add tax. Or if you're on a mobile device, it would be at the bottom right. It's going to be a plus sign. And then I can select to give it a name, a description. If I'm in a place that requires multiple taxes, for example, Canada is a very common one where you'll have, I always get the letters mixed up, but I think it's, for example, HST and GST. Obviously, different provinces have different things, I believe. You can toggle this on and it will calculate the difference between the two rates and show you a breakdown of it. So if you do need two rates, you're going to select add tax rate, enter the first rate name, agency, and value, and then you're going to add the second one in here. So it'll have that combined tax rate, but it'll still break it down. If you do just need them combined, then you can turn this off, but for the most part, you'll probably want that on. If you connect with QuickBooks, you will need the tax rates for the rate name, agency, and value to match exactly what is in QuickBooks. Otherwise, whenever you send an paid invoice to QuickBooks, it will trigger an error for you, and you just want to make sure that everything matches exactly as what you have in QuickBooks. Once you're happy with this, you can select to save. If you need to edit a tax rate, if you just created it, you can click on it and make any changes. However, if a tax rate raised or lowered, one can hope, you do not want to edit the value. You'll want to select to archive it to get it out of your list, but that way everything that had this previous tax rate is still up to date and has your records accurate. And then you'll create a new tax rate for that with a new rate. So again, if your tax rate changes for whatever reason, you'll want to create a new rate for it and archive the old one. And of course, if you accidentally archive one, you can still select it and untoggle that. So the toggle to the left means that it's off. The toggle to the right means that it is on. And that's throughout the studio as well. Okay, looks like the chat is pretty quiet, so I'm going to assume that we don't have any questions so far. Let's continue on to setting up your payments. So your payments will be at the top left in your studio settings. If you are located in the US, you have the option for credit card and bank transfer. If you are not in the US, currently it is only credit card. Some countries, though, don't even allow that. So make sure to check with your accountant or even your business lawyer and see. While you're talking with them, you may also check and see if it is legal for you to pass fees to your clients. Some places it is not, some places it is. So just to keep that in mind. I'm going to go into this studio since this one does not have Stripe already set up, just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to select my studio name, studio settings, and then again go to payments. So this is what it would look like if you did not have it connected. So you'll simply select connect with Stripe. It will then prompt you to either connect an existing Stripe account or to create a Stripe account. And if you have questions about how payments are going, or if you filled out all the information, you would want to log into Stripes directly for that. And so once you have this connected, you can also select to pass these. I see that we have a mention about Zapier. If you continue down in your studio settings, it's going to be under integrations. And you'll need to invite yourself to like Zapier and Mydoma, because otherwise Zapier won't find it. There are instructions here, and you can generate an API key. And we do have a video on how to set that up as well, if you would like for us to send it to you. Continuing on, there are obviously a lot more things that we could go over in the studio settings, but it's not quite required. It's good to know. If you have questions about it later, we can come back to it. Otherwise, I'm going to leave everything else alone for right now. So let's go into how to create clients, because without them, you wouldn't likely be here. So on the left-hand side, you can see the person icon, or if you select the 4 boxes to go back to your dashboard, you can see the name here. Again, if you are zoomed in, you may have to scroll down in the left menu, or if you're on a smaller screen, just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to select clients here. You have client management and lead tracking. Client management is going to be the only thing that is required if you're trying to have your clients come in. Lead tracking is just an extra little thing that you can add. But on the right-hand side, I'm going to select to add a client. I can give them a profile picture if I have something, otherwise I can ignore it. The only fields that are required for a client or team member are the first name, last name, and email. So you can see that it has a little asterisk here. And then you can add extra information, but again, it's not required. And the email does need to be unique. It cannot be one that is already used in the studio. So for example, I have marsha@mydomastudio.com. I cannot use that here. It will give me an error just because, for example, if it did allow it, which it does not, if it did allow it, it wouldn't know which profile to actually log you in as. So that's why it requires unique emails. Once you fill out the information, you can select to add them. You can select the down arrow to add it and go ahead and send the invite. You can add an open, so it'll open up their profile so you can add any extra notes or addresses, things like that. Or if you're just trying to get a whole bunch of clients in, you can select add and create new. So it'll pop this up again so you can create the next person. When you add somebody, it does start them out as inactive. And so if I click on their name, I can see the option to send invite here. I do not want to activate them because whenever I send the invite, it will mark them as invited and then send them the option to create their password. And then once they create their password and log in for the first time, it will automatically mark them as active. So again, you do not want to activate them. You want to leave them as inactive and then send the invite. The invite does expire after 3 days just for security reasons. So definitely try to send it. If you know they aren't going to be available until the weekend, send it closer to the weekend, or send it whenever you are sitting there with them. That way you can help them set it up. So whenever I send the invite, I have the option to customize the message or just leave it as a very basic message and send. So if I back out, you can see I have this person. They are marked as invited. If the invite expires, it will give me the option to resend the invite. If I have resent it, here it will give me the option to revoke the invite. So if I sent it and then I realized actually am not ready to have them in, I can select to revoke it, and they will get an error whenever they try to create a password. So in the client profile, if you need to make any edits, you can select the pencil to update their information. You can add custom fields in here as well. And the only things that show to the client are going to be like their first name, last name, this top section. And if you haven't had any client credits for them, then they won't see that either. As you scroll down, you can add addresses for them. You can add multiple addresses, give them a label and any extra information. And then if you're having things shipped to your client directly on orders, it'll pull that over for you. And then continuing down is just some extra features that we are not going to go over right now. On the right-hand side, you can see what projects they are tied to, whether the project is archived or not. Okay, so continuing on, while I'm thinking about it, addresses, in case you have a warehouse or receiver or somebody like that that you need to have things shipped to, I'm going to select my logo mark, go to Studio Settings, and then go to Addresses. And this is where I can select to add an address at the top right, again, probably behind my face on the recording. And then you can type in that information. That way, you'll have that receiver or warehouse or whoever, their information listed as an existing address that you can pull onto an order. Something else to keep in mind is that orders are not available on the starter plan that is professional plan and higher. So now let's talk about how to add team members. I'm going to go back to the dashboard. I don't have to, just in case you're starting from your dashboard and wanting to do this. I'm going to select my logo marker studio name, and then I'm going to go to team management. So it will show you how many users you still have available or how many spots you have open. And it's going based off of how many people are active. If they are inactive, they do not count against you. It just matters if they are an active profile. So adding team members will be similar to clients, but there's an extra step. So something you'll want to do is you'll want to create a role. So if I select add role, I can come through here and I can see all of the permissions. Again, depending on how many permissions you see will be based off of how far zoomed in or out you are and what your screen size is. And if you have any questions, you can select a question mark to see more information about what each permission does. Or you can message us and we'll be happy to try to help guide you on what we think would be best suited for what you're trying to do. You'll just need to let us know what you would like them to do and what you would like them to not have access to, and then we can go from there. So now I'll select Add Team Member, and then I can select the role that I created. So let's just say Interior Designer. Again, I will need to give a first name, last name, and a unique email. Those are the only required fields, but I can add a phone number. I can continue and add any addresses, and I can add a profile image for my team members as well, if I have it. And again, I can select the down arrow to save and go ahead and invite them, or just save it. Again, similar to clients, team members will also start out as inactive unless you send an invite, then it'll show them as invited. But if you don't invite them right away, you'll come in here, you can select the three dots, and then you can select send invite. Again, you do not want to activate them unless you are wanting to go ahead and give them access and have them use the forgot password link. But sending the invite allows them to create their password, and so this is going to be the smoother way to do it. So I'm going to select send invite. It gives me the option to do a custom message. And then it says it confirms it. And so as you can see, it also gives me the option to revoke invitation here if I needed to. If I need to edit the profile, I'll select the three dots and then select edit. Or if I need to give them more or less permissions, I'll find the role that they have. So for example, this is my bookkeeper role. At the far right, there's a gear icon. I'm going to select that gear icon, and then I can adjust any permissions that they have. I can toggle things on, off, etc. And just keep in mind that the very last permission is going to be the visualizer. Okay, continuing on, let's go to vendors. Whenever you're creating a vendor, it'll be at the top right again. So pretty much whenever you're adding something into the studio, I'm trying to think if there's any place that there's not. But I think everywhere that you're adding something, it's always going to be the top right. Or if you're on a mobile device, it's going to be at the bottom right. It'll be a plus sign. So add vendor. Only thing that's required is the vendor name. So let's say Universal, for example. Oops. I can go ahead and select add, and it will take me into that vendor profile. So in here, I can select to edit this, add any extra information. The category and subcategory are options just for extra filtering if you're trying to look for vendors to see who you have for trade, for example, or for retail, plumbing, lighting, whatever. Continuing down, I have the primary contact information. I'll select the pencil to edit and fill out this information. This information will be preloaded whenever you try to email an order to your vendor. That way you don't have to hunt down their email each time or type it up each time. It'll just have it populated for you. Again, you can add any addresses, whether either showrooms or warehouses. And if you needed any files attached to their profile, maybe they have a very specific order form and they don't accept it from Mydoma, then you can add that here. That way you have it on hand at the very least. As I go back, I can see all of my other vendors. I have filtering options on the right-hand side. If you don't see the filters, again, this is going to be throughout the studio. It's going to be kind of like a funnel with 3 lines, and you can select that and it'll open it on the right. Okay, next, let's go over how to install the Clipper on your computer. So the Clipper extension is only available on laptops and desktops. If you're wanting it on like a tablet or on your phone, you'll download the mobile app and there's a Clipper built into the app that you would use instead, just because mobile devices don't have the option for extensions. And so it is 2 separate things. So I'm going to select my logo mark at the top left, go to apps and extensions. And here I can see the product Clipper options, and then I can also see the mobile app options. You're also able to search it in the Google Play or App Store. Works perfectly fine. But for the extensions for the Clipper, you'll select what browser you're using. The Apple Store is only for Safari. If you're on an Apple computer using Chrome, you'll still select the Chrome option. We do also have help articles that takes you through each step for each different option. If you're using Microsoft Edge, you'll want to use the Chrome option as well. So I'll select this. It'll take me to the page that I need, and then it'll allow me to install it. I already have it installed, but I'm going to go ahead and remove it and then reinstall it. So I'm going to select Add to Chrome. It just gives me a warning, basically, and I say Add Extension. And it shows me at the top right, again, I'm going to turn off my video just for the recording. It showed me at the top right that it showed up. So I'm going to select this puzzle piece and then select the pin icon to pin it outside of the puzzle piece so I can just select this moving forward. You do not want the orange one. That is an older version. You want to make sure that you get the Mydoma Studio Next product clipper. So now if I go to a vendor website, let's go to CB2, for example. You can go to trade sites as well. You just need to log in. But I'm going to go to, let's just go to a random sofa. So I'll pull up the product. And if I want to select whatever fabric or size options that I want to go ahead and do that first. And then I will select the clipper icon. It will ask me for my email and password. So I'm going to type in my email. I'm going to pause this for just a moment while I type in my password. There we go. So as you can see, it pulls it up. And depending on how the website is built will be what images show. So this really doesn't show many options of this sofa. So I'm going to actually close this out and click on this to expand it. I guess CB2 only really shows one image. But if you wanted a specific image, you can select that to expand it, then open the clipper, and it will show that option. And then you can exit out of the image. You're also able to select to pull images in other ways. I'll show you that in just a moment. I'm actually going to redo that so I have this front image of the sofa. So now I'm going to take out the vendor name from the product URL or product name, sorry. Again, that just depends on how the site itself was set up. I can select this dotted blue box to copy over any information. So for example, the price. You can select this dotted blue box to pull over the SKU or product code and then fill out this information here. So furniture, I want it to be a sofa. These subcategories I added myself. I'll show you once we get to the product catalog right after this. And then if you needed to move it around, you can click and drag to move it around. Just be careful to not pull it too high up because then you can't move it after that. You just want to make sure that it stays underneath the URL. I have the vendor, CB2, and any other information that I wanted to add, I can go ahead and do that. If I want to add it to a specific project, I can do this here. It's going to show me only my active projects. And then any packages. If I want to copy a description, I can do that as well. So I'm going to select this and copy that. And then save product. Okay, now I'm going to close out of the clipper. I don't necessarily want to log out just because then I'm going to have to log in each time. If you close it, then the next time you open it, it will just have that available so you can continue clipping onto the next item. So while I'm here, let's say that I wanted a side view or a zoomed in view of the sofa. I'm going to select the image and I'm going to right click on it and select copy image address. Then if I move back to my studio and select the products catalogs, which is going to be the sale tag item, I can select the three dots and then edit product. Come over here, I can go to images, select images, and then I'll toggle on this URL. Then I can paste this. If I want another image, I can come back here. Let's say that I want this one, copy image address, do a comma, and then I'll paste. And if I want another one, I can do a comma. Let's say that I want the back view, for example. Copy and paste. So now I'm going to select to upload. Let it think for just a moment. And now you can see that it's uploaded all those images. If I want to make a different one as the main image, I can select the star to switch it out. And if I didn't want an image, I can select the X to remove it. If I want to manually create a product, I'm going to select Add New at the top right in the product catalog, and then I can enter all this information in. I can go to Specs and scroll down. I can go to Images and add any notes and things like that. Continuing on, we're going to go to the service catalog since it's going to be very similar. Again, at the top right, I'm going to select to Add New. And let's say that I already have shipping, so I'm going to just say freight. If I wanted to go ahead and add a vendor, I could, but since freight is going to be something that I use for multiple vendors, I'm going to leave that blank. And I'm also going to leave the rate blank. So basically, anytime I add it to a project, I can assign the proper vendor and a rate, and I can add freight to a project multiple times. So I don't have to worry about updating that information. It'll have that blank for me. I can go ahead and select save. Something to keep in mind is if you are wanting to track your time against it, you want this option to be checkmarked as well. So if you had design hours, if you had admin work, things like that, you want to have this check mark so you can assign that to your times and it'll pull over the rate that you have set in here. Okay. Let's go over to how to create a project. So if I go to the file folder on the left-hand side, that's going to take me to all of my projects. I'm currently in the process of doing a deep clean on my studio. So this is pretty blank. But if I come over to this studio, as you can see that I have a lot more projects going on. So to create a project, if you are on one of the newer plans, so if you're on a starter, professional team, then you'll have the option to create with Max. If you've been with Mydoma for a while, basically since before August of 2023, you will not have this option just because you're on a grandfather plan, and it is slightly different. Your studio is the same, you just don't have this option. So you are able to create with Max at the top right. This is the option that I'm talking about for what is on the different plans, to make that clear. You're able to create projects no matter what. But if you wanted to speed up its talking, you can just click on it and it will fill it out. And then you can type in information to kind of make it more of a conversation on creating the project for you. So you can list what kind of views you would want, if you want files and media folders, the budget, basic information, stuff like that. If you have a client profile, you can also mention their name and it'll add them onto this. And it will help you create a project and walk you through if you aren't quite sure on what to do. I'm going to go ahead and cancel and show you how to actually manually create a project though. It's going to be at the top right. You're going to select add project. And the only thing required is a project name. So I'm going to say that I have a townhouse. I can add a start and end date. If I have a status that I want, I can go ahead and do that. If I want the project published or unpublished, this means that if my client is invited to the studio and they have logged in for the first time, that the project would be visible to them overall. And you can change this at any point later. If you have a project template, you can select that here. This will likely be what yours looks like though, if you have not created a template yet. And then you can toggle on and off certain features based off of if you're not going to be using them. For example, if I do not want appointments in here or questionnaires or notes, I can toggle those to the left, which means that they will be turned off. And then I can continue on through there and it'll be hidden from both myself and my clients. If I select next, this is where I can add my clients. If I already have a profile for them, I'll select the person icon. If I do not have a profile for them, I can select the plus. It'll give me an option to create their profile here. So I'll select this client. And if I needed to add any view-only team members, so team members that don't have access to the project management permission, I needed to assign them to their specific projects, I will select them here and then create. If I needed to edit any of the information that I just went over, at the left-hand side, I'll see my project name. I can select the pencil icon, and it'll take me here. So I can update the budget, start and end date, status. This is again where you can change if it's published or not. And the eye icon here will show if it's published or not. So if it has a slash, I mean, it's not visible. If it is an eye icon with no slash, like you can see now, that means that it would be visible as long as they are invited and have signed in. And are assigned to the project, I should say too. You can go to user access and add more clients or team members. And then I can go to project features. And as you can see, appointments, notes, and questionnaires are not listed, but I can also toggle it on to then show it. If you turn it off midway through a project, it's just hiding it. It does not delete anything out of it. It just hides it from you and your clients to get it out of your way. So it's basically kind of like archiving it. Then last, you can upload a feature image. So I'll scroll down and select add image, and I can drag and drop, browse media gallery. If I wanted to pull an image that I've recently uploaded, I can select that and then upload that. I'm not going to go into a lot of the details inside the project. That is for a different webinar. If you have questions, please let us know. Or if you go to the help guides, the second option, which is training and resources, we have our previous recorded webinars here. And again, you can see more information about the basics and getting started with that. Or again, just message us. We'll be happy to help you. Okay, we have about 9 minutes left. So let me go over tags, and then I don't see any other questions at the moment. But if you have any questions, please feel free to stick it in the chat. That way we can go over that information for you. So to create tags, you can create tags no matter where you are in the studio, as long as it has the option for tags. So I can select this and I will type in whatever I want it to be. So for example, trying to think of something that I don't already have. I probably already have dining room. Yeah. So maybe I have 2 dining rooms. I can start to type it out and it will allow me to create the tag here. It will assign a random color. If I wanted to change the color, I can select to remove it and either scroll down or filter for it. Select the 3 dots. I can rename it here if I wanted to. I can select this paint palette and then I can select a default color, or if I have existing colors, I can do that here too. So if you have branding colors, what you'll likely want to do is you can select the plus. You can type in the hex code or you can drag it around to see one that you like. And if you save it, it'll save your branding colors. That way you have it accessible in the future throughout your studio and you don't have to question it. If you just select it, then it just selects it this one time and then you don't have to worry about it. And since I have 2, I'm going to go ahead and archive this dining room. That way I don't have it anymore. So if I come back, search for dining room, I just have that one. Tags are a filtering option for clients, projects, products and services inside of your projects, vendors, time tracking, it's all sorts of things. So you want to keep your tags very simple. And also, if you have any questions about recommended tags, you can message us. It does not have to be rooms. It can be categories, for example, if you do construction, or if you want it to separate your project by rooms, absolutely go for it. Tags are completely adaptable. You can add as many as you want or as few as you want. Okay. That is pretty much all that I had today. I guess let me show you how to launch the visualizer as well, just in case you're wanting to do that. So it'll be this little house icon on the left-hand side. All plans have the visualizer, the basic visualizer. If you want the pro visualizer, it has less limitations for higher quality renderings. Your watermark, if you want to take ours off in general, or if you want to also add your logo onto your renders, you can do that. But to launch it, you'll select visualizer here, and it should open in a new tab. For the very first time, it's going to show you a tour here and walk you through, and then it'll open in a new tab. If it does not open in a new tab, check the URL. There may be a pop-up blocker that you have enabled. You'll need to disable that for the visualizer. That way it'll actually open it for you. Then you can select to create a new project. It'll take you in. We recommend that you are on Chrome and you have to be on a computer, whether that's a laptop or desktop, in order to use the visualizer. It is not available for mobile. But you can search for plans, you can import it, you can draw your own, you can do a bunch of different things. I'll come back here. So roughly how long it takes, probably about 30 days to get everything set up. And you can do it to where you are self-taught, whether you're watching recordings of our webinars or articles, using the support chat, things like that. Or you can hire a virtual assistant to just kind of get everything in for you if you're transferring from a different platform. You can also do that. And just remember that if you feel like you're stuck, please, please, please reach out to us. And then also, change can be hard and can take a little bit of time. And so just remember why you made this change. That it does take a little bit of time to set up, but once it is set up, it's going to save you so much time. So if you want, this is just a shortcut to those webinars, the recordings that I showed you earlier. You can scan it with your phone and it'll pull it up for you. And this will be in the recording as well. Otherwise, again, go to your help guides, training and resources, and it's going to be at that top section. If you are interested in hiring a virtual assistant to help get your studio set up or to help you with your business in general, we do have Mydoma certified virtual assistants here. You can scan this and it'll take you directly to our directory to where you can see more about them, their profiles, what they are certified in, what kind of work they prefer to do, their rates, things like that. And then last is any questions?